Howdy, hey, hello, it's McKenna, and this is Munch Mingle. Welcome to day 4 of our 12 days of podcasting. Oh, I hope you guys are having fun. I hope yesterday's was good. I went a little bit crazy on the hair stuff, but like I said, that's my favorite thing to talk about. One of the favorite things to talk about. Today, what we are going to do, we are going to make a munchie. Okay, I really wanted to bring y'all into the kitchen and be doing this with you, but the more I tried to figure it out and place it all together, I'm like, this is going to be a complete disaster. So the good news is this is a munchie I make a lot, so I really feel like I should be able to kind of get you feeling like we're in the kitchen together. So that's what we're doing today. Side note, I just want to let y'all know, I hope you guys are doing the advent calendar. I mean, we're only 4 days in, but my kids are loving it. It's so much fun. So much fun. And the part about adding the scripture references, amazing. I just want to point out, I think I'm loving this so much because the ones we picked are ones about Jesus's life, his mortal ministry. And that is an approach I haven't taken, or at least thought to take. I've always kind of looked at Christmas as, it's the birth of the Savior. Let's do everything building up to that. While we still will highlight that most likely around Christmas, taking this approach of let's talk about his life as a whole, that has been awesome. So much fun. It's like watching the boys, it's clicking already. And I just saw this week at the BYU devotional, President Christofferson was speaking, and he was speaking about this exact thing, about making not just Easter, but also Christmas a time to really focus on, Jesus Christ's mortal life and mission, and most important, his condescension to save you. We should study his life and model his discipleship. Oh, I love that. So I think that's the way to go. Definitely if you haven't already, but I just love this new emphasis that our leadership, that the First Presidency is directing us towards not just Easter, but also in Christmas. So that's just my little spiritual thought for the day. Definitely going to go back and fully study that talk. But here we are. So this is a munchie. It's kind of funny how it all came about, but I believe this is a munchie you're going to want to take to your next party that you're going to this month, because it's going to be a hit. So backstory is, I truly believe in another life, I was Italian. I know it. I feel it. I see it. I smell it. I get it. I am obsessed with all things Italy, Italian, love it. I told Britt, when we get to go on a mission together, I really, really hope we get called to Italy. I just see that, and that would just be so awesome. So when I do think a lot of this started when I had Charlie back on the pod. Oh my gosh, was that season 2? I don't know. I'll need to link it below. We love Charlie. I found out Charlie was half Italian. And after that episode, I was starting to get all fascinated with all things Italy. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, this might sound crazy. Do you know how to make a homemade spaghetti sauce? Because you grew up Italian. And she's like, oh yeah, totally do. So I went back to her house and she taught me right there in her kitchen with all of her girls. It was so cute. And I'm pretty sure we have used that recipe on a past episode as another munchie. But don't worry, we're still getting to we're not just going to hear that alone today. So that was so cool though. Charlie was telling me that every Sunday in their house, they do this red sauce. And she'll either just do spaghetti or chicken parm or meatballs and marinara, anything she could do. But what she did tell me, and what I've made sure to try to tell everyone else, they don't call it spaghetti sauce or red sauce. In Italy, they call it gravy. which is so weird to me because I don't know about you. When I hear the words gravy, I think brown gravy, a turkey gravy, maybe a chicken gravy, not when I see what I call like spaghetti sauce. But to them, to Italians, like that is gravy to them. They put it on everything. However, just still to deem it in our family, we do call it gravy instead now, but I call it red gravy. It's the easiest way for me to distinguish it. Now, moving further along, I've been making that a lot. I usually make a huge pot of it. Honestly, I've started just putting it in the crock pot because you do have to let it simmer for like 2 hours. And I make I like double the recipe, get the crock pot full. And then once it's done, I separate it into just our little, what is it? Canisters? That doesn't sound right. Containers. And then we freeze it. So we have it. It's there. Love it. Yeah. It's really great, but it's so easy to make it in pinch that you could make a day of still and use it that day, which it is when we do make it, we're having spaghetti that night for sure. So whilst making this so much, Charlie also gave me a recipe for Alfredo sauce. And this, you guys, chef's kiss. I love Alfredo. When she taught me how simple it is to make Alfredo sauce, I was shocked. I was like, there's no way that is how you make Alfredo. And she's like, McKenna, it is. So we started making it. I love it. Well, then I came across this random video. I've seen it once. I cannot find it. Thank heavens I can remember the majority of it. This woman made a dish that she mixed her red sauce, her red gravy, just her normal store-bought spaghetti sauce with another store-bought Alfredo. Mixed them together, put it with some noodles, some meat, and then she puts it in casserole dish, sprinkles mozzarella on top, and then bakes it. We made that once, and I mixed this recipe for red gravy and Alfredo. Should just call it white gravy at this point. Well, no, because that's like chicken and biscuit. What is it called? Sausage? I don't know. My lovely Southern in-laws make it all the time. But there is that. So sorry. Tangent. So we made that and Britain loves it. And so I was like, well, we're making it enough. What should we call it? And so of course I was like, we'll just call it pink spaghetti. So now we've kind of incorporated that into our meal rotation. Super easy, super great. Well, one day, as in like 2-3 weeks ago, I'm in the kitchen and I don't know why I did this. I'm grateful. It was a stroke of genius, really. I started making the sauce because we had leftover spaghetti sauce from like the day or two before. So it was just sitting in the fridge and I was trying to work through our leftovers. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to hurry and make the pink spaghetti. So I started making the Alfredo, threw the rest of the red gravy in, and then I'm sitting there and I'm stirring it. And I don't know why. We had cleaned out our pantry and I saw on the counter these little Italian crackers, not crackers, crisps. You get them at Walmart. Not Walmart. Get it together, McKenna. Costco. I don't know what they're called. Like, I feel like if you see them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's this square plastic container. They are little like crisps, Italian, not even shortbread, but it's like a cracker, but it's gourmet. It's beautiful. I love it. What is the word I'm thinking of? If you use bruschetta, is that the right thing? That like toast on the bottom. It's that type of consistency. It's pretty crisp. And there's just like a bunch of little crisps of them in this container. My point in case is we had that and it's sitting there on the counter and I'm looking at this sauce and I'm like, I wonder, I need to taste the sauce before I put the noodles in. I grab one of the crisps. I dip it in this now beautiful pink sauce and I die. Basically, I then come back to life to eat another bite and I die again. I am not joking. I just was like, why have we never thought about this? So I hurry, grab another crisp, take it to Britain. I'm like, you've got to try this. Even though we are familiar with this sauce, I don't know why I didn't ever think just to have it as a sauce alone, like a dipping sauce. Same thing. Britain heals over, what's the word? Dies right there. Comes back to life, goes in for another bite. We were just like, what? Why is this so stinking good? So that's when we decided, I was like, this is in and of itself the most beautiful creation. So that is going to be our munchie today. We're going to walk through it and get you the recipe. And seriously, prove me now herewith if that is not an incredible little dip idea. I'm sure you've got a lot of parties you could bring this to. And I'm also sure you could put in other things to dip it with, but you've got to try it. So going through the red gravy, super easy. You start with some garlic and some oil. Get that oil hot in your pan, throw some garlic in, about a tablespoon of minced garlic, or if you want to go crazy, some fresh minced garlic. Beautiful. Once that is starting to dance, we don't want it to burn. So yes, get your oil warm, but we don't want it hot because we need that garlic to get soft. So when it starts dancing, that's when you know it's ready. Then we're going to have 5 tomatoes, and you can either half them, or there is an option if we want to be shelf stable friendly. If you go to the aisle in your grocery store where all your canned tomatoes are, there is a 28-ounce can, like huge can of whole tomatoes that are already canned, ready for you to go. You can use one of those. That will also link up to your 5 tomatoes that you need. So grab one of those. And then also while you're there, grab a 28-ounce, another big honking can of tomato puree. You're going to throw both of these into a blender. We want to blend all that up. Get ready. And I know some people might look at this recipe. This is Charlie's like family recipe. At first you're like, there's a lot of tomatoes in here. Couldn't we just use like 10 tomatoes? Sure, possibly. I'm not that creative nor adventurous to venture out from what I've been given. And I love this so much that I'm like, I just kind of follow it and it works. So once that's all blended, being the frugal person Charlie is, she's like, doesn't really give me a measurement for exact water, but she's like, just take one of your 28-ounce cans, fill it halfway, and then dump that into the blender. So then you get all the tomato that's out of one of the cans, like the puree can, and you're using it all up. And I'm like, Charlie, you're amazing. This is beautiful. Then you might notice your blender getting a little bit full. You're going to go and toss that into the pot with the garlic so you can make some room. You probably won't need to, because then you're going to come in with 1 can of tomato sauce, just an 8-ouncer, and then 1 can of tomato paste, the 6-ounce. You're going to mix that all together. Like I said, you just got a big pot of tomatoes and a pinch of garlic at this point. We're going to then add 6, count them, 6 flakes of red pepper. Yes, we have done more, and it is so stinking hot. You can do less, but honestly, I don't feel like 6 is too crazy that you're like, oh my gosh, this is spicy spaghetti. But it just gives you that little bit of zing. But try it out for yourself. Try 3, maybe 4. It's crazy how these little flakes really pack a punch. And then, again, the Italian measurement. You're going to do, as she states, a layer of garlic powder. Just a whole layer over the pot. And then a layer of oregano. Now, this is where I get a little fancy. This is where I guess I do venture out a little. Instead of just oregano, I have a homemade Italian seasoning that I love to have. This was probably right in the height of when I was doing all things Italian that I was like, I'm going to make my own Italian seasoning. And yeah, I haven't gone back. So definitely will leave that. So like below the recipe for that too, because it's so easy and it's so great. But I do a layer of that instead of just oregano. So I do get a little bit more of a pack, of a punch. And then you do a layer of salt and a layer of pepper. The whole point, and I truly do believe this, why Charlie said you're doing a layer is because you're going to, what is it called? You're going to taste your sauce as you're kind of working through it. And you're going to decide, ooh, do I think I need a little bit more salt? Okay, go from there. Do I think I need a little bit more of garlic or Italian? Okay, go from there. So your layer is your base starting point. And then you get to adjust to your preference. After all this is done and it's sitting there in your pot, you are going to let it simmer for 2 hours. You definitely want a lid because it will pop, and get everywhere. So this is the best part because your house is just going to smell so good. Like I said, if you're just doing it on the pot, you'll probably get 2 or 3, maybe 2. No, because a spaghetti jar at the store is about 32 ounces. So I think you'll walk away with for sure 2, possibly 2.5 jars full at this point with this recipe. But then again, I always double my recipes, so I could be going off that. If you are going to do it in the crock pot, I would say double everything I just said. You'll do your garlic before in the pot, just hurry warm it up and then throw it into the crock pot. But once I do this in a crock pot, we're walking away with almost five 32-ounce containers. So it's awesome. It's a great way to stock up, and really you're just getting such a great taste. So there's that. Now we go to the Alfredo, the easiest thing ever. Now, before I do this, I have to preface this because Charlie taught me this. This recipe is meant to be eaten like day of. You're not really saving it for leftovers. Have I not followed that counsel perfectly? Yes, especially when I make my pink spaghetti. Because I'm like, well, it's mixed with the red gravy, so it'll be fine. The reason why she says that is because a lot of the ingredients, they're going to separate. And so that's why it can kind of be hard to store. But like I said, if you're mixing it with the red gravy, I feel like it's okay. We've been fine. But if it's alone, yeah, probably better not. The Alfredo, the pasta Alfredo, 3 ingredients. That's it. 3 ingredients. Okay, and maybe a little bit of Italian seasoning. Again, that's if you want. You're going to, count them, 2 sticks of butter, 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. You're done. You whisk that all together on a skillet and you have Alfredo. It's insane. And I was like, you're never going to get me to like Alfredo, any Alfredo that's better than Olive Garden Alfredo, because that's what I grew up on. Nope, she did. And it's so simple. That's what I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So once you have your Alfredo, you've got your red gravy. I would say you take about, 32 ounces of your red gravy to mix with this Alfredo. And you can mix and match your proportions if you want it totally even or whatnot. But the consistency you want is, the color pink. That's about it. And then you have this beautiful creation, this beautiful dip. You can pour it into a dish, just like a chips and salsa dish, and then sprinkle around it the Italian crisps or other like breadsticks. Oh, man, we got to figure out how to make Olive Garden breadsticks. That would be just, again, chef's kiss heaven. I'm sure there's so many things. I just haven't, I guess. I really don't venture out too much. But that is it. And I really hope that one of y'all try this and you come tell me like, okay, yeah, that was pretty good. Because I don't believe it's just me in Britain. Like, I don't think we're that sheltered that we would be like, whatever, like making such a big deal about it. And everyone else is like, that's not really a big deal. But I don't know if it's because it's also like the homemade stuff. Maybe if you were just to try this with like a normal store-bought spaghetti sauce and store-bought Alfredo, maybe it wouldn't even be like that great. But if you try this, the homemade, that's where I think we get into like, whoa, territory. Okay, that's it. That was your munchie today, our little cook with me. Hopefully I've got you salivating just a little bit, but thank you so much for being here. That was so much fun. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.